Hi, this is Rabbi Tzvi Mandel. On a Monday night, Pashas Vayigash is coming up, and we'll go straight to the Kitzer Shulchan Aurach. We were studying the first siman, first chapter, paragraph 4, and I just want to mention, we spoke about putting negavasa by the bed, the washing of the water by the bed from a cup into a basin before pouring your feet on the door, and I found the verse that I was talking about. It's not in the beginning of a Telem, it's in Psalms 36. It says, Yisyatzav al derech loy toiv ra loy imas. A person that stands on a path that's not good, he will not be disgusted of bad, will not be repulsive of bad. So that, according to the Zohar, if someone steps down from his bed on the floor, his or her bed on the floor without washing his hands from the impurities of the night, it's a terrible thing, according to Kabbalah. And Ra Layimas, he won't be repulsive of bad things. Now, remember, in Judaism, there are two things. There's doing good and there's keeping away from bad. It's not enough to keep away from bad. It's being repulsive of it. Of course, we're not all on that level, and there are different levels of what this means. But the basic of it is that we don't just keep away from bad, but we're disgusted from bad, whether it's man to man, whether it's man to God, whether it's sneers, whether it's hurting or stealing from someone, no matter who you are, whether you're a religious person and an irreligious person, you should be disgusted of it because God is disgusted of it. And we want to emulate Hashem. We want to be so close to Hashem because He loves us so much. It was so much part of Him. Our neshama is part of Hashem mamish, that we want more connection with God. And by being repulsive of the things that God is repulsive of and disgusted of the things that Hashem is disgusted of, that makes us more part and parcel of Hashem and gives us more longing and desire and wanting to be closer to Hashem and His people and His Torah. Okay. Number 5, we're going to study, just because we're learning the Kitzer Shulchan Aruch straight, we're not going to skip it. But I don't know how much it is for every person, myself included. But there are people that are on this level, so we'll learn it. Chapter 1, paragraph 5. If it's possible for one to arise early at midnight and to then recite Tikkun Chatzos, since night is the appropriate time for morning, as indicated in the verse cited by Kitzer, righteous Jews rise at midnight to recite prayers of the destruction of the temple and the ongoing exile of the Jews. These prayers are known as Tikkun Chatzos. They're great people. If you ever go to the Western Wall, to the Kitzer Maravi, there are groups of people, and some of them led by great leaders, that go every night by the Kitzer and sit on the floor and cry to God, begging Him to rebuild the temple. This is most meritorious, as it is stated in Eicha 2:19. Arise, cried out at night, at the beginning of the watch shifts, etc. Okay. This practice is similar to that of the Holy One, blessed be He, who laments over the destruction of the temple at that time. As the verse states in Yirmiyah 25:30, Hashem calls out from on high, and from His holy dwelling He raises His voice. He calls out over His destroyed palace, and He proclaims, Woe unto my children, for due to their sins I have destroyed my home, and I have burnt my sanctuary, and I have exiled them among the nations. This is a Gemara and Talmud, Brachas 3a. If, however, it is not possible for him to arise at midnight, he should at least strive to arise before the first rays of dawn, as King David of blessed memory says in Tehillim 57, Ira Shachar, I will awaken the morning, Ani ma'ares hashachar ve'en hashachar ma'aresi, meaning, I will awaken the morning will not awaken me. The Medrash Tanchuma says in Baal Leischa 10, rather than being awakened by the light of a new day, I will arise while it is still night and await the morning. Obviously, King David attached significance to rising before dawn, even though the ideal time to arise is at midnight. And King David himself did arise at midnight, as the Talmud says over there. Okay. And after midnight as well, one can recite Tikkun Chatzos. Okay. After the recitation of Tikkun Chatzos, one should engage in the study of Torah, each individual according to his ability, with the session in Mishnah taking precedence over other studies. And through his study of Mishnah, one can merit fulfillment of the soul, for the Hebrew letters of the word Mishnah are the same as those of as those for neshama, the Hebrew word for soul. If one is not capable of studying Mishnah, he should recite Psalms, Ma'amados, or study books on ethical behavior. A lesser amount of prayer or study recited with concentration, the way it should be, is preferred over a greater amount without concentration. Reb Chia taught, whoever engages in Torah study at night merits the divine presence, as it is stated, arise, sing out at night at the beginning of the watch, shifts, pour out your hearts like water in the presence of Hashem, as the Talmud says in Talmud 32b. This verse means to teach us that then, when a person is studying Torah at night, the divine presence is with him. Our sages of blessed memory in the Zohar Bereshis 136 say that whoever studies Torah at night is called a servant of God. As King David in Tehillim 134 says, all the servants of Hashem who stand in the house of Hashem during the nights. Okay, so there's something very special to saying the Tikkun Chatzos or getting up early, which is more preferred for simple people like you and I, and studying before davening. And all the big Chassidish Rebbes preferred this and advised that as a chana for the davening, preparation for the davening, and like it says here, to being closer to God and connected to Hashem and being called a servant God, is to study before the morning services. If someone could learn Mishnah or Gemara, perhaps, it's preferred, whether it's 15 minutes or a half hour. If not, one says Tehillim or whatever it might be. Even during the short summer nights, when it is not possible to arise so early, at the minimum, he should strengthen himself to arise while there will still be enough time to ready himself to go to the synagogue to pray there with the congregation. Okay, we have 2 more paragraphs and we'll be finished the first chapter. Okay, in the final 2 paragraphs, Kitzer digresses to discuss several laws that apply to the Psalms and Ma'amados prayers mentioned above. Those chapters of Psalms, or those portions of the Torah, prophets, and writings that are not sufficiently familiar to most people to be recited from memory by heart, even an individual who does know them well enough to recite them from memory should be careful not to say them from memory. Mishnah Berurah in 49.6 rules that it is permitted to recite psalms from memory, since they are being recited as prayers, and not as study of one of the books of the written Torah, which may not be done from memory. Okay. Even an individual who does know them well enough to recite them from memory should be careful not to say them from memory. A blind person, however, may recite them by heart. Okay. Number 7, the last paragraph of this chapter. One should protest against those who, while reciting supplications after the recital of Mahamadis, conclude their supplications with, "Blessed are you, Hashem, who hears prayer," thus mentioning Hashem's name in vain. They say, "Baruch atah Hashem shomea tefillah," and they say out God's name. That's wrong. Rather, one should say, "Blessed is he who hears prayer," without mentioning the name of Hashem. This is brought down in the Torah Zav and the Taz at the end of this Siman 131 in Shulchan. Okay, let's just see if there's anything to add over here at the end of the first chapter. The Rav Shulchan just adds that one might say about paragraph 4, where it speaks about not being lazy and getting up to study early in the morning. He says, and one shouldn't say, "I'll lie in my bed and I'll study in bed. Why do I have to get up and get dressed?" But that's not respect for Hashem. So one should not do it that way. Okay, we'll start the second chapter, the laws of Netilas Yadayim in the morning. And this contains 9 paragraphs. Number 1, it will speak about the reasons for morning Netilas Yadayim, washing the hands. 2, it speaks about donning the tzitzis. 3 to 7 speaks about the procedure of morning Netilas Yadayim. 8 talks about cases of doubt. And 9 about other activities that obligate Netilas Yadayim. A person is obligated to wash his hands upon awakening in the morning. The laws and procedures that are particular to this Netilas Yadayim, washing of the hands, are set forth in this siman. Now there's another law of washing your hands before praying. That's not what we're talking about over here. Okay. Paragraph 1. Because a person, upon arising from his bed in the morning, is as if he has been created anew, Hashem gives him back his neshama. It's like he's reborn. It's like the resurrection of the dead, right? We said that's what it means by Shechzatu b'nishmasi b'chem rabba emunasecha. Great is our belief in you, Hashem. We say that in the morning. That's the first verse. So the Rav Shulchan Aruch says that means that alludes to our belief in the resurrection of the dead, just like when a person sleeps at night, he's a 60th dead, as Chazal teaches. So when Hashem gives us back our soul in the morning, it's like our resurrection. And this reminds us and gives us strength to have the belief of the resurrection of the dead that will be in the times of Mashiach, the 13th step of the 13 Ani Mammons. Okay. Now, upon arising from his bed in the morning, is as if he has been created anew for the purpose of serving the Creator, may his name be blessed. He must therefore sanctify himself by washing his hands with water from a utensil. In this he is similar to the Kohen, who would sanctify his hands daily from the kiyar, the laver. Just as the Kohen washes from a utensil, so should his washing be done with the utensil. So here, this is another beautiful concept that's brought down in the big Shulchan Aruch as well, that every Jew, when he wakes up in the morning, is like the Kohen in the Beis Hamikdash, like the priest in the temple, which would wash his hands and feet, actually. Others say that's why Chassidim go to the mikveh every morning. There's other reasons as well, but this gives us a certain courage and hope that we're on the level of a Kohen in the Beis Hamikdash. Yes. Okay. While this morning hand washing is a rabbinic enactment, there is scriptural support for this washing, as it says in Tehillim 26:6-7. I will wash in cleanliness my hand and circle around your altar, Hashem, to proclaim thanksgiving in a loud voice. Okay. Another reason for this washing, since during sleep, when one's holy soul has departed from his body, a spirit of impurity comes and rests on his body. Now, when he awakens from his sleep, this impure spirit departs from his whole body, except for his fingers, from which it does not depart until he pours water upon them 3 times in an alternating fashion, right? Once, twice, 3, 3. Okay. It is prohibited to walk 4 amas, between 6.3 and 7.6 feet, without washing one's hands in the morning. In other words, even if someone is not going to wash while lying in bed, he can't walk more than 6 point something to 7 point something. Okay. Except in cases of extreme necessity, of course. Example given, if he must urgently attend to his needs, or if he does not have the water available. Mishnah Berurah in 1:2 writes that in situations of extreme necessity, one may rely on those opinions that consider the whole room to be one area of 4 amas with regard to this halacha. Okay, but really we don't want that. We'd rather wash as we're lying in bed, as we said so many times already. Now the Rav Shulchan Aruch adds that one who is scrupulous in his actions, someone that wants to be an Elohid, as we said, loyally connected to God in a real loving and fearing way, not just passing through and, oh, I did what I had to, but someone who wants to really be connected to Hashem, like so many of us special people, they're growing so much in their Yiddishkeit, should wash his hands right away, even though he's lying in bed. However, one who doesn't have water by his bed or can't wash him 3 times each the way the law requires, when he wakes up in the middle of the night to study Torah, Chalila, God forbid, should he restrain himself, should he hold himself back from studying Torah until the morning, let him wash his hands a little bit and or wipe his hands on the side of the bed, and that's good enough. So we see, as important as it is to do this, but it shouldn't bring to any bittul Torah. It shouldn't cause him not to study Torah because it's so important. Okay. 2, paragraph 2. The first garment that one should put on should be his talis cotton.